Ben, 27-man squad by Black Stars coach Chris Houston. Are you impressed?
I wouldn't say I'm impressed. I'm not surprised though. I expected to see some names in there. Bernard Tekwete has been in great form, good numbers, still can't seem to make the national team. It's something that's happened over time. And so, am I too surprised? No. Partey, the decision to leave Partey out of the squad, am I surprised by that? Also, no. But I mean, from my point of view, I feel like he's a pivotal player for the national team. He's a big player for the national team. And so, in the past, we've accommodated injured players in the team who are not even on his level. And so, if he had some level of injury where he started recovering, maybe we could have named him in the squad and possibly look to introduce him if we did make it to the latter stages of the tournament. Again, I will understand the decision not to include him. I'm sure that having been on such a long injury trajectory, I'm sure the FA have conferred with his club and his own stakeholders to make this happen. But I think it's a big miss for us. I also feel like this squad is an opportunity for a guy like Majid Ashimeru to make his mark. We've seen glimpses of what he can do when he gets the chance. I think that with guys like Partey out of the squad, there will obviously be more openings for him to be able to make a name and make a statement. So I hope that he takes it. I hope the same for a guy like Joseph Pinto. The numbers are good for club side gang, but can you translate that in the national team? At the last AFCON again, he's one of those who showed glimpses of what you can do, but glimpses are never good enough. So I am looking for guys like that, Ashimeru, Paintil, guys who are on the brink of the national team to make a mark in this tournament.
Let's talk about local inclusion.
Yeah.
Richmond Lamptey. I mean, in the last 2 3 months, he's been
Yeah.
absolutely sensational for Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Yeah.
Jonathan Sowa last season he helped Mediama win the title. I mean, the inclusions into the national team is a step in the right direction.
It's definitely a step in the right direction for, I mean, home-based players who play in the league to get a national team shot because that's never common. I mean, even if you double back to the old times where you had Charles Taylor and Ishmael Ado, a lot of those guys were literally superstars back in the day, but they barely ever sniffed the national team. And so, for a guy like Richmond Lamte, making the national team is always a mark of motivation for another local player. The last tournaments I've had a free Bane. I thought that Danlad Ibrahim as well. I mean, I thought that there were quite a number of candidates for that position. Lamte, Manaf is a good example. Arguably the best midfielder in the league this season. To see him not make that squad ahead of Lamte, I would say there isn't much of a difference between the two. Manaf definitely has a better eye for goal, I think, but I feel like the team has a lot of that. And so to include Lamte is to me the coach seeking a profile that is not too predominant in the squad. It's a sign of good things for the national team. I do hope that when we are presented with scenarios where his services are needed, he will not be kept on the bench because that's been the theme of local players going to tournaments. They go to the competition and they never get to see actual game time. So for Lamte, I think he's a good player. I think he can hold his own with these other guys. And so I hope that he gets a genuine opportunity.
I've witnessed Black Star squad announcement personally for like 10 times now. So this is not the best of squads that you can assemble. But we also have to understand that this is what we have at this moment. The coach has to improvise, and he's done exactly that. There are a lot of players who could have made this squad if they were available. Once the availability is not certain, the coach has decided not to risk the team first and foremost and the players as well. So I believe that we have a squad that if they are committed, they will be able to deliver. From what I have experienced and observed from the African Cup of Nations, it is not always about having your top players. It is mostly about a coach finding the balance and players who are committed and ready to play with their zeal and enthusiasm, and also praying for the stroke of luck in 2 3 weeks. That's basically the African Cup of Nations. You don't always have to have your best players available. We've had Partey, we've had Andrea Yu. We have periods of Michael Essien, Steven Appiah, and all of them. We failed to win. So I've seen Zambia, I've seen Cameroon under Hugo Bruce, I've seen Egypt, I've seen so many teams come to the AFCON and perform when lots of the players in the team. I've seen Nigeria under Stephen Keshi in 2013. So, I mean, the records are there that you can always have a good team and not perform. You can have a team that is so underrated you go to the tournament and you creditably exit on a very good note. So this is what I pray for Chris Hilton, who I think has very little knowledge of the African game and also at the AFCON, but that's also an advantage for him to learn as fast as he can. We don't have the best of players at the moment, but for Kudus and a few, but we have to rely on experience, commitment, and also adaptation of the players to be able to excel in Ivory Coast. We all pray that we win the trophy.
Well, I think it's a good squad. Personally, I'm happy because I've seen a squad that we already know the players. You know, our games that we played in the international friendlies and then the World Cup qualifiers, we've seen most of the players in the squad. So seeing them again wasn't a surprise for me, and it's good because we have to get a team that the players know themselves and they could play very well. So I'm impressed, and also the inclusion of Richmond Lamte and then Soa and the other guys. You know, it's good for our local league as well. So I'm impressed. It's a good squad.
Going on to this, Ishaku is playing brilliantly well, but he's absent. Why do you think he'll be out? And also, Fatih, we understand he's injured. Do you feel that maybe the coach should have just included him?
You know, Thomas Partey has had a very tight season, and then with the injury situation at his camp, I think he needs time to recover and then also do well for his club. I believe it's an instruction from the club at Arsenal. That is why Thomas Partey couldn't make it to the final squad. But with Fatawi Shayaku, he has a clause in his contract with Leicester City, and there are a number of matches that he has to play before he could get the permanent deal with Leicester City. And looking at his performance this particular season, I think it will be the best decision for him to stay and then play and then be able to secure that contract from West Ham. He joined Sporting Lisbon. We didn't see much from him, and he joining Leicester City on loan. He has been brilliant, playing so well. So it's a good decision from him. But I believe we have equally other players who could also play so well for the national team. So it's a good thing.
Concerning the Black Star squad, well, 27-man squad, well, full of surprises, but we hope that they can deliver. And looking at what we were able to do with the 2010 squad, where we had young players in the squad and they were termed as underdogs. I hope that this time too we can do the same thing and bring out the best. Looking at the strikers, I don't expect Coach Houghton to only rely on Antoine Semenyo, Inaki Williams, and Jonathan Soa. He can use the likes of Ernest Miyama and Mohamed Kudus as makeshift strikers in the team anytime things are not going well. When you look at Inaki Williams, you often operate on the flanks and does very well. So I hope that this time we can be able to do very well. With Thomas Partey not making the squad, well, he'll be missed, but I expect other players like Majid Ashimeru to rise to the occasion. And my big issue will have to be who will be in the post for the Black Stars.
Your prediction, your expectation for the Black Stars, especially their performance at the end?
Well, if you have to ask of my expectation, I'm actually expecting less from the Black Stars because looking at the last two AFCON editions, we've not been performing very well. So, and this team, as Saddiq Adams asked, a coach who's going to the tournament for the very first time, and things pertaining or things going around. Thomas Partey has not been included. We have Mohamed Kudus. He said he has a slight injury, but he's able to fit into it. But I don't think we are going to get up there because we check the Group A. Even if we are to qualify, we would somehow some way meet either the host nation, Ivory Coast, or Nigeria, which is going to be a very tough game for us. So I think qualifying out of the group stages is my expectation is enough for me.
So you expect us to just qualify?
Yeah, we should just qualify, and then the German from Ivory Coast will come to Accra.